Hello everyone, good afternoon. I hope you all can hear me and see me clearly. Can you please confirm if you can hear me and see me clearly? Okay. Good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the afternoon trading session. For today's session, we have Mr. Arpit Veriwal sir with us who will be taking it up. We'll start with the index update, indices update, support resistance, strikes on radar if we have any strategy trade, and then we'll move towards BTST stock options if we have any, and then some stock queries. Arpit sir, you are clearly visible, you are audible, you can share your screen, and then we can start the session.
Another screen is visible.
Yes, the screen is visible.
Perfect. Yeah, good to go. So, very good afternoon, guys. Welcome to midweek knowledge sharing session on indices and the broader market outlook. Starting with the flow for the session would be talking about now indices, Nifty, Bank Nifty, broader market, followed by few positional trade setups, followed by BTST, and if any option trade setup as per the market setup. Tomorrow we'll having Nifty expiry, and tomorrow we also have one of the key event, that is the tariff event that is going to be announced by Trump, and what exactly conclusion is going to be. So a lot of in last 10 to 15 days, lot of things, lot of sectors has been affected on the positive side or on the negative side, and a lot of volatility we have seen. So tomorrow will be a conclusive thing, because of which yesterday we have seen sharp cool off. Today we have again see some bounce from lower levels. So overall, starting with Nifty first. If we talk about Nifty, the bigger structure, the positional setup is overall bias positive. Now talking about the weekly setup, we have seen good recovery from the lower levels in the March series. But अगर last 2 to 3 days अगर हम देखें, starting of the April series on the weekly scale, it negated the formation of higher lows. एंड अगर हम डेली स्केल के बारे में बात करें तो एक ब्रॉडर रेंज में ट्रेड कर रहा है निफ्टी. सो इफ यू सी द सेटअप ऑफ द निफ्टी ऑन द ब्रॉडर रेंज वाइज, एक अच्छा ब्रेकआउट हमने देखा था फ्रॉम 23,000 टुवर्ड्स 23,850. Post that, after 2 to 3 day consolidation, yesterday we see sell off across the major indices, and today we have again see some bounce back. So looking at the overall setup at the monthly, weekly, and the daily setup wise, Nifty is likely to be in a broader range. On the broader range wise, first would be looking at the levels of 23,200 to 23,650 levels on the immediate basis, whereas on the broader range would be 22,800 to 23,850 levels, and that would be from a monthly perspective level. जब तक निफ्टी 22,800 से लेकर 23,800 की रेंज में रहता है, तब तक ये एक ब्रॉडर रेंज में ट्रेड करेगा. इमीडिएट बेसिस पे 23,200 एक इंपॉर्टेंट लेवल है. अपसाइड में मल्टीपल हर्डल्स है 23,600, 23,500 के अराउंड. So Nifty आज अगर हम देखें, so एक with a flat to negative opening, swift recovery from lower levels, and let me pull out the intraday chart. So अगर हम इंटरडे चार्ट देखें तो बार बार नीचे से डिप की बाइंग आ रही है, बट एट द सेम टाइम अपर बैंड में मोमेंटम इज मिसिंग. सो इफ यू लुक एट द इंटरडे और आर्ली चार्ट फ्रॉम लास्ट ऑलमोस्ट 2 to 3 आवर्स, एक 50 to 60 पॉइंट्स की रेंज में निफ्टी ट्रेड कर रहा है. 23,300 के अराउंड इज कंसोलिडेटिंग फ्रॉम लास्ट ऑलमोस्ट 2 आवर्स. नीचे 22,250 का इंटरडे सपोर्ट है, ऊपर में 23,333, 23,400 का अपसाइड हर्डल है. सो ऑल इन ऑल निफ्टी द बायस इज पॉजिटिव, बट एट द सेम टाइम अपसाइड इज कैप, जिसके वजह से वो एक रेंज में ट्रेड कर रहा है. मेन रीजन बिहाइंड दिस थिंग इज IT and relatively Reliance is not that performing, because of which Nifty is relatively underperforming. So ऊपर में 23,500 एक हर्डल है. Positionally जब तक 30,000 के ऊपर रहता है, bias would be slightly positive towards 23,850 levels. Now let's move on to Bank Nifty. So if you see the chart setup of Bank Nifty yesterday we have seen some cool off from the higher levels. If you see the chart setup wise, clearly कल एक Bank Nifty में ऊपर से हमने selling pressure देखा था 51,000, 51,500, 700 से. बट एक अच्छी बात ये है कि इट इज नियर टू इट्स गैप एरिया, जो एक प्रीवियस ब्रेकआउट जोन है डबल बॉटम का 50,750, 50,800 लेवल्स. तो दैट इज अ मेजर सपोर्ट एरिया, जहां से हमने आज नीचे से थोड़ा सा रिकवरी देखी टुवर्ड्स 51,250, 51,300 levels, mainly led by HDFC Bank. So Bank Nifty, if you see the chart setup wise, relatively it is trading in a range. between 50,000 to 52,000 levels from almost last 6 to 7 sessions. इसमें relatively bias is slightly more positive as compared to Nifty because इसका weekly and monthly structure काफी better है. So levels के बारे में बात करें, immediate basis पे 50,850, 51,000 एक important support है. Upside में 51,500, 51,750 hurdle zone है. पोजिशनली जब तक ये 50,500 के ऊपर बाइस क्लोजिंग देता है, ऊपर में 52,000, 52,250 तक की बैंक निफ्टी में जगह है. So if we talk about Nifty and Bank Nifty is relatively outperforming. Though last 1.5, 2 hours में today it's not, there is no major momentum. एक range में है Bank Nifty between 51,150 to 51,300 levels. So let me pull up the intraday charts, 15 minutes. So closely, if you see, after a flattish opening, a good recovery from lower levels, and post there, a consolidation phase में चला गया है, mainly because of supportive move by HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank. Relatively, Bank Nifty is relatively placed compared to और एक stock specific action वाला day है. So now let's move on to the broader market. आज broader market में काफी अच्छा momentum है, and if you see stocks में भी काफी अच्छे momentum है, whether it's the hotel space, whether it's the chemical space, fertilizer space, और selective NBFCs. So आज in mid cap के बारे में बात करें तो relatively outperform कर रहा है benchmark indices को, is almost up by 1.5%. Strong recovery from lower levels and stocks में से काफी अच्छा है. So we'll focus on stocks. If any option trade is there, we'll try to focus on that as well. But as of now, Nifty, Bank Nifty both are consolidating with slightly positive bias for intraday basis. So we'll talk about that also. But as we're discussing, so few stock ideas that are looking very good from the CDI perspective, positional. One would be from the fertilizer space itself, Chambal Fertilizer. So if we see the chart setup wise of Chambal, trading at life high territory, monthly, weekly setup is very strong. Daily में धीरे-धीरे बेस ऊपर की तरफ shift हो रहा है. Strong bullish candle. In spite of yesterday's weakness in the market, it is holding at high levels at life high territory. So good move can be seen towards 650, 660 levels. So one of our CDI calls from this space would be Chambal Fertilizer. 605 का आप स्टॉप लॉस रख के ऊपर 660, 670 के टारगेट के लिए चंबल्स आप बाय कर सकते हैं. I'll repeat, 605 का स्टॉप लॉस रख के ऊपर 660, 675 के मूव के लिए चंबल फर्टिलाइजर you can buy. So this is one of our first CDI call. Anuj, you can note down the levels for the stock. I hope the levels are clear, Anuj.
Yes, sir. It's clear. We have already shared and pinned.
Perfect. So as we're discussing, along with that, the hotel stocks are very much in favor. Yesterday also we've seen good recovery in Indian hotels, and today we have seen some follow buying also in that space itself. So within that, the cash space, Chalet Hotels is looking quite strong. So setup wise, अगर हम देखें, let me pull out the monthly chart. Yeah. So as market has seen good recovery, this was one of the counter that has seen good recovery from the lower levels, trading in a broader range between 750 to 1000 levels. Monthly scale पे एक strong bullish candle बनाया है, follow buying भी हमने देखी है. Weekly scale पे भी एक अच्छा base formation हुआ है, higher lows का structure intact है. Daily scale पे consolidate कर रहा है, but definitely we can see a good uptick towards 900, 920 levels from 8 to 10 days perspective. And as hotel space is in flavor, so definitely the risk reward is also quite favorable because last 4 से 5 दिनों से stock consolidate कर रहा है and bullish engulfing बना के एक follow हमने buying भी देखी है. So immediate basis पे this is also one of our CDI calls that we can go with. 830 का stop loss रख के अभी 860 चल रहा है. अब थोड़े से dip पे 858 से लेके 860 के range में buy कर सकते हैं. 830 का stop loss रख के ऊपर 900 और फिर 915 के target के लिए Chalet Hotel would be a second CDI call from the broader market space.
So any BTST you have in mind that you are keeping a track of?
So as of now, we are just keeping a track. There are a couple of ideas, but we are just waiting for the right momentum and right setups. So definitely we'll share the BTST trades also. As of now, 2 CDI calls we have given. Coming back to the Nifty and Bank Nifty outlook for the option setup. So last time also we have recommended a bull call spread in Bank Nifty for the monthly series. And one thing that I like to highlight that this is the advantage of generally the option strategy. There would be days when certain days will not be in your favor, but as we're playing in the option series wise monthly option series, so the view would be intact. even if it's for 1 2 days, there is a whipsaw in the indices, but the bigger view is intact. So एक पहले हमने already strategy दी हुई है बैंक निफ्टी की bull call spread. As of now, it's near cost itself, and our view is still intact. कि जब तक बैंक निफ्टी 50,750 50,800 के ऊपर है, our bias will be positive. As of now, looking at the chart setup wise, one as we are saying, BTST is on our way, and we have flashed it on terminal also. So it's from the exchange space itself, one of the most favorite counter of traders, BSC. So BSC का chart setup wise, it's very strong. After the news couple of days back that the existing expiry days will happen as usual, we have seen a good momentum. कल हमने थोड़ा pause देखा, and today again we have seen follow up buying. So BTST would be a first trade, that is BSC. 5650 is the spot levels. 5550 का stop loss रख के ऊपर 5850 के टारगेट रख ले, BSC would be a first BTST.
Guys, we have shared one CDI Chambal Fertilizers and another CDI Charlotte Hotels.
As we're discussing, I'll just talk about Nifty also. So Nifty, if I look at the intraday charts, slowly, steadily the Nifty is getting moving higher. But the thing is, there's no major momentum so far. Yesterday there was a quite weakness across the indices, but today we've seen some pullback move. And this has been the nature of the market, where at times it leads to confusion within the range. And so accordingly, you have to play that range. So setup wise, 23,200 is the intraday support for Nifty. Upper band 23,333, and then 23,400 would be a key levels to watch out for. Tomorrow we have Nifty expiry. Tomorrow we also have an event. So option setup wise, we would update if there is any good probability setup on the option naked option buying side. We are looking for the setups. If we get any setup wise, definitely we'll share it. But as you're seeing good momentum across broader market, we can definitely try to play out that. Also, certain positional ideas that are looking very strong. We have been recommending from last almost quite a time. That is another counter, that is Bharti Airtel. So it's one of our top pick within the telecom space. Technically, a beautiful classical range breakout on the monthly and the weekly scale above 1700 levels. The base of the stock is slightly moving higher, and slowly steadily can head towards 1800 1850 plus levels. So one of our calls from the CDS space positional would be Bharti Airtel. Slowly steadily the stock can head towards 1800 1840 plus levels. 1700 would be the major support zone. Look at the overall market perspective. Yesterday we've seen some spike in India VIX. So let me pull up the chart of India VIX also. Yeah, so yesterday we've seen some spike in India VIX. Today relatively it has been overall on the dull side. If I see the chart setup wise, India VIX is still trading in that band between 12 to 14 and a half levels. Until that time, it trades in this band. More or less, it would be a sideways market with overall upside cap, but at the same time, buying is visible at lower levels. Now talking about, excuse me. So now talking about back to indices, options wise, there is no major setup wise. We have shared the levels of the Nifty and Bank Nifty levels. We talk about broader market. We have called a couple of BTST and CDI calls. What we can do, Anuj, we can take a couple of stock queries in between, and as we get more better opportunities on the BTST side, because good momentum is seen in broader market. So let's make the most of it, and accordingly we can play it out. So we can take few of the queries, and then we can get back to the market discussion.
Sure, sir. So Titan sell future on 3113.
Titan sell future on
3117. Sorry, 3117. Your view, hold or square off?
Okay. So if I see the chart setup as Titan, the weekly trend is still under pressure, but daily scale पे अगर देखें तो kind of a strong recovery हमने lower level से देखी है from 3000 levels. So if you are sell short on this counter, keep a stop loss of 3130. 3130 के ऊपर closing आती है तो better to exit the counter. हमें अब तक का मूव 3150 3180 तक का दिख सकता है. So 3130 spot levels I'm talking about. So keep your levels as a stop loss at 3130 levels on immediate basis.
So CDSL 1260 call at 26.3. Should I hold for tomorrow? 1260 call.
If I see the chart setup wise of the CDSL on the daily scale, it is consolidating a range. between 1150 to 1280 levels. If you see the overall exchange space theme, selective exchange stocks are in good momentum, but if you see the chart setup of CDSL, it is trading still in a range. If you have already bought the position, you can hold that counter because just the start of the month. On that basis, 1190 would be a spot level closing basis for the call option. 1190 के ऊपर जब तक है CDSL, the bias would be positive. But ध्यान रखिए upper band में 1260 and then 1280 would be the upper band level where you can book your profits if there is momentum in next couple of days.
So PNB Housing Finance for next 3 to 4 months.
For next to 3 to 4 months, PNB Housing Finance, right?
Yeah.
Overall, if we talk about the NBFC space and relatively financial pack has been relatively better. And if I pull out the chart of PNB Housing in the Feb series, it has taken support near its major supports on around 780, 800 levels. On the upside, 910, 920 is a minor hurdle level. But as you're seeing from a 3 to 4 months perspective, you can hold this stock with positional targets towards 1000, 1020 levels as the sector is in flavor. So overall bias is positive. जब तक 840, 850 के ऊपर है, a bias will be positive towards 1000, 120, 130 levels.
So lemon tree for next 3 to 4 days.
Hotel space is in action. We are seeing good momentum in Indian hotel chart. However, lemon tree के बारे में बात करें अगर overall monthly weekly setup एक range में चल रहा counter. Let me pull up the daily chart. So अगर डेली चार्ट में हम देखें so kind of नीचे से एक अच्छी रिकवरी हमने देखी. Yesterday we have seen good follow up buying above 132 levels. Chart setup wise 142 is a major hurdle zone. Fresh momentum रहेगा 142 के ऊपर. Overall bias would be slightly positive, but relatively underperform कर रहा है as compared to the other hotel stocks. So एक bias positive रहेगी, but नीचे में 135 का support है, ऊपर में 142, 146 तक का move दिख सकता है. Slightly bias is positive. Better to add on dip near 136, 137 levels. रहेगा. नीचे में major support है 130 का, upside में 145, 146 तक का move दिख सकता है. Coming back to the indices setup for Nifty and Bank Nifty. Nifty, I'll just pull up again the intraday chart. So it is just hovering near its key level of 23,300 because we have a good event that is lined up ahead. So as of now, there is no major momentum. Starting at 1 hour, there was good swings, but post that a range में Nifty is trading. So buying side, there is no major thrust on the call side. So as of now, we are waiting for any good setup wise. But yeah, as you're discussing about the Bank Nifty, a positional view is positive. And we have also recommended bull call spread. Positional stop loss would be 50,750. Spot levels में जब तक Bank Nifty 50,000 या 750 के ऊपर रहता है, a bias would be positive. Having said that, intraday swings are likely to be there. Yesterday there was a sharp fall. Today we have seen some recovery. So indices are in more or less in a broadly confusing space in which there is trading within the broader band, and we have to play that band accordingly. Because if I just pull out the banking chart wise, classical retest near its retest zone, but at the same time multiple hurdles are seen near 51, 750, 52,000 levels. So you have to keep this thing in mind that whatever positions you are building up, try to make swift movement within the index wise and avoid carrying overnight because the texture of the market is a bit dicey on both the sides. So you have to play it accordingly.
So your view on HAL?
Defense pack has kind of bottom on the March series, and we have seen good recovery of almost 20 to 25% on the monthly scale in the entire March series. So let me pull up the monthly chart itself. Setup wise, positionally, a strong base formation is seen around 35, 3600 levels. Weekly में अच्छी हमने recovery देखी है. Daily scale में yesterday we've seen sharp gap up, but post that because Baroda market was in little bit pain, so we have seen some cool off from high levels. Just a second. Yeah. So if I see the chart setup wise, daily scale पे एक range breakout दिया है 4000 के ऊपर, and it is trading above that. So bias would be positive, but a buy and dip counter. near 4100, 4150 would be a favorable level, with keeping stop loss of 4000 for an upside move towards 4500. So HL, the bias is overall positive. The monthly setup is very strong, weekly is also strong. Daily में थोड़ा सा cool off हुआ है, but overall the texture of the stock is buy on dips. Second, the BTST trade that we have splashed on terminals we added is Zomato. So it used to be one of our favorite counter, and now if we see the nature of the counter, it has stuck in a range from January 2025 to so far in last 3 months. It is trading in a broader range between 200 to 232 levels, and this is how the smart traders play their script. So if we see the chart setup wise on Zomato, again and again, whenever the stock is corrected from 200 levels, from high levels to 200, we have seen recovery from lower levels. And this is how the nature of the counter has been. Support say there is buying interest, whereas on the upside there is a hurdle level. So Zomato अभी चल रहा है 211. Second BTST trade would be Zomato 210 से 211 के रेंज में बाय करें. 206 का स्टॉप लॉस रख के ऊपर 218 और फिर 222 के लिए would be a BTST trade. So first one was BSC, second is Zomato. These are the two BTST ideas that we have shared.
So Indigo quantity 15 at 5141.
What is the buying price?
5141.
Okay, so looking at the chart setup wise from monthly scale, a range breakout above 4850, 4900 levels. On the weekly scale, a range breakout as well. Daily scale, it is good, holding above 5000 levels. So from a position perspective, 4850, 4900 the major support zone. जब तक ये इसके ऊपर है, bias would be positive towards 5200, 5400 levels. But yes, that are positional targets, not an immediate basis. So as you have bought in cash, so you can hold this stock from a 2 to 3 months perspective. Positionally, target can be seen towards 5200, 5400 plus levels. Coming back to the indices in the broader market, I just like to highlight few things. So now what there has been March series, we have seen good recovery from the lower levels because the market was in deep oversold zone, and since then in last 5 to 7 sessions, market has been a bit choppy. But the good part over here is you have to identify the stocks which are in the bigger uptrend and the sectors. So we have been quite positive in the sectors such as financial services, metal, fertilizers, and the banking space as a whole, and the hotel space. So these are the 4 to 5 sectors that we have been quite strong on the chart wise. And as soon as we see some dip in these counters or in the stocks, it is a very good level entry point to buy. So you have to keep a list of 8 to 10 counters from a position level wise that you can keep churning around. So for example, counters such as Bajaj Twins, we have been recommending it from quite a long time, and slowly steadily the base of the stock is moving higher. So from 8000 it has moved to 8200, from 8200 it had dipped, and then from 8500, 8800, now it's back to its support zone. So generally in such market, there are few counters that are secular uptrend, and we have to play that counter again and again to make the most of it. So you can pull out such a list, and we definitely share our ideas through our products also. Coming on to that, gold finance and NBFC space are looking very strong, and we have also one call that is open in our four weekly product, that is Mannapuram Finance. So a classical proxy play for gold and NBFC space, classical in uptrend, consolidating at higher levels, forming a pole and a pennant pattern kind of bias is positive. This call is already open in a 4 weekly product with major support around 2118 to 20 levels. Upside can be seen towards 240 to 50 plus. So this is how you have to play it out through sectors wise. That gives you a much better approach. We have talked about few counters, that is 2 to 3 CDI calls, 2 BTST we have already shared. Index wise, tomorrow is a big event, so definitely we will not be aggressive or go on overnight option buying setup. Better to play through strategies. As of now, Nifty is in a range. Bank Nifty is also trading in a range with slightly positive bias. Positional as CDI and BTST as we have shared. Ongoing with that, sectors also we have shared which sectors are looking promising, and you can keep it on radar. As soon as we see some dip in the selective counters, you can make the most of it. Coming back to that, Anuj, you can take few more stock queries and we can continue with that.
So we'll just take two more queries. BSE buying range for bonus benefit.
Honestly, if it's a BSC, it's a corporate action. So if we talk about from a corporate action perspective, it will not make much significance. But if I look at the monthly and the weekly charts otherwise, from a bigger time frame view, definitely a stock is in overall bias positive, and the stock has been quite high beta. So to play the corporate move, I'm not much advising what would be the range favorable for. But from a level perspective, on the immediate basis, 5,400 would be the key level for BSE. Upside, that was a previous swing high around 6,000 level. That would be a major level. That would be a major hurdle zone. To play this move, or as per the market setup wise, we can play this move.
And sir, the last question would be Vare Renewable.
Why? So after a good euphoria about the stock, when the stock got listed and post that, what is the price? Vari Renewable, right? Yeah, the price is 900, right? Perfect. If I see the charts otherwise, post that, post a sharp listing, and then the stock has been continuously in downtrend for last almost 3 to 4 months. From 1400, the stock is corrected towards 900 levels. So chart setup wise, there's no major setup. Let me pull out the bigger time frame structure. Monthly setup clearly in downtrend. Setup wise, जब तक ये 950 980 जब तक ये surpass करता तब तक there will be no change in setup for this counter. Although the stock has corrected sharply, but immediate basis में 970 980 is a major hurdle zone. जब तक ये stock इसके ऊपर surpass नहीं होता है, तब तक the bias would be negative. Also, such counters are very high beta, especially when market gets volatile. Such counters, the intensity of the stock is very much higher. So far, look at the charts otherwise. कोई भी bounce अगर आता है towards 960, 980 levels, so you can better to exit the stock and better to switch your capital to some better outperforming sectors and outperforming stocks.
So guys, that will be all for today's session. Thank you everyone for joining in. Anything else, Arpita, that you would like to add before we end the session?
Just to summarize things, so far for the April monthly outlook, our view is overall slightly biased, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind reality check that indices will be in a range. Focus on the sectors and the stock specific approach that will give definitely more alpha. Yes, on expiry days, try to make the most of it from the momentum. Yesterday there was expiry of Sensex, so we have seen good momentum. Tomorrow we have Nifty expiry, so definitely some swings can be there. But within that, keep churning, because this market is more of a churning market where you can churn the same stock couple of times within that space. So I think definitely let's see what the event unfolds and how does it impact the markets. But in the meantime, stay tuned and keep trading with us for the stocks and for the indices. So that's all from our side.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Arpit sir.